Throughout human history, a handful of minds have dared to question everything. They've challenged kings, religions, societies, and even reality itself. These are not just thinkers. They are revolutionaries of the mind, whose ideas have shaped politics, ethics, science, and the very meaning of existence. Today, we dive into the lives and legacies of the 10 most famous philosophers in history. From ancient Greece to modern Europe, each one changed the world in ways that still echo today. Socrates, circa 470 to 399 BCE, the man who never wrote a word, yet changed the course of Western thought forever. Socrates, the street philosopher of Athens, didn't teach in a classroom. Instead, he wandered the agora, asking questions that made people deeply uncomfortable. His method, asking probing, relentless questions, is now called the Socratic method. He believed the unexamined life was not worth living, and that virtue was the highest good. But in challenging the norms of Athenian society, he made powerful enemies. He was accused of corrupting the youth and disrespecting the gods. Offered a chance to escape his death sentence, Socrates refused. He drank poison hemlock in front of his students, becoming a martyr for truth and reason. Plato, 427 to 347 BCE. Socrates' most famous student, Plato, took his teacher's ideas and built an intellectual empire. He founded the Academy in Athens, arguably the first university in history. Through his dialogues, Plato explored justice, love, knowledge, and the nature of reality itself. His most famous work, The Republic, imagined a society ruled by philosopher kings. He believed the material world was just a shadow of a higher, perfect reality, the world of forms. This idea would dominate Western metaphysics for centuries. Without Plato, Western philosophy might never have found its feet. Aristotle, 384 to 322 BCE. The student of Plato, but the teacher of Alexander the Great, Aristotle's influence is immeasurable. Unlike his teacher, Aristotle focused on the tangible physical world. He categorized knowledge into fields like biology, ethics, politics, and logic, laying the groundwork for modern science. In Nicomachean Ethics, he explored the idea of achieving eudaimonia, flourishing, through virtue and balance. He believed in observing the natural world, analyzing it systematically. His logic became the standard for over a millennium. Aristotle wasn't just a philosopher, he was a one-man encyclopedia of knowledge. Confucius, 551 to 479 BCE. While the Greeks debated the cosmos in ancient China, Confucius taught the importance of family, respect, and moral duty. His teachings, collected in the Analects, became the foundation of Chinese society for over 2,000 years. Confucius believed in harmony between people, proper behavior, and the moral example of rulers. Education was central to his philosophy, not just for personal growth, but for the stability of the entire state. His ideas influenced everything from Chinese government to family structure, ethics, and diplomacy. René Descartes, 1596 to 1650, I think, therefore I am. With those 5 words, René Descartes revolutionized philosophy. Living in a time of great scientific upheaval, Descartes sought absolute certainty. He doubted everything, even the existence of the physical world, until he found one thing he couldn't doubt: the existence of his own mind. He is often called the father of modern philosophy and analytic geometry. His method of radical doubt and emphasis on reason influenced the Enlightenment and the rise of rationalism in Europe. Descartes split mind and body into separate substances, shaping centuries of debate in philosophy, psychology, and science. Immanuel Kant, 1724 to 1804. Living in the age of enlightenment, Immanuel Kant tried to bridge the gap between reason and morality. In Critique of Pure Reason, he argued that the mind plays an active role in shaping experience. Reality for Kant wasn't just out there. Our perception filtered it through categories like space and time. In ethics, his categorical imperative remains one of the most powerful ideas ever proposed. Act only according to that rule which you would want to become a universal law. Kant believed in duty, autonomy, and the moral worth of every individual. His influence stretches into ethics, law, and even international relations. Friedrich Nietzsche, 1844 to 1900. Wild, provocative, and often misunderstood, Nietzsche was a philosopher of rebellion. He declared that God is dead, not as a celebration, but as a warning. Without religion, what would guide humanity? He saw the rise of nihilism and feared its consequences. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra and Beyond Good and Evil, he called for the rise of the Übermensch, a higher human who creates his own values. He challenged morality, truth, and herd mentality. Though his ideas were later misused by totalitarian regimes, Nietzsche himself loathed authoritarianism. He was a prophet of existential freedom, shouting into the abyss. John Locke, 1632 to 1704. The father of liberalism, John Locke believed in life, liberty, and property. His political philosophy laid the foundation for modern democracies. In two treatises of government, Locke argued that governments derive their power from the consent of the governed, not from divine right. He believed the mind was a blank slate, tabula rasa, at birth, shaped by experience. This radical idea fueled revolutions in education, psychology, and politics. Without Locke, there might be no U.S. Constitution or Declaration of Independence as we know them. Karl Marx, 1818 to 1883. Few thinkers have changed the world as dramatically or as controversially as Karl Marx. A German philosopher, economist, and revolutionary, Marx analyzed the injustices of capitalism and envisioned a classless society. In the Communist Manifesto and Das Kapital, he argued that history was the story of class struggle. He saw capitalism as inherently exploitative, with the bourgeoisie profiting from the labor of the proletariat. His ideas inspired revolutions across the globe, leading to the rise of communism in the 20th century. Love him or hate him, Marx forced the world to confront inequality. David Hume, 1711 to 1776. A Scottish skeptic and master of empiricism, David Hume challenged the very basis of knowledge. He questioned causality, arguing that we never truly see cause and effect. We only assume it based on habit. He doubted religion, miracles, and the notion of a permanent self. In a treatise of human nature, Hume showed how emotion, not reason, guides human behavior. He believed morality came from feeling, not logic. Though ignored in his lifetime, Hume's ideas later influenced philosophers like Kant, scientists like Darwin, and even modern cognitive psychology. These 10 philosophers lived in different centuries, cultures, and continents, but they all did one thing in common. They questioned. They challenged accepted truths, invented new ways of thinking, and left behind legacies that continue to shape our minds and societies. Philosophy is not dead. It lives in every difficult question we ask, in every debate about justice, truth, or freedom. So next time you wonder about the meaning of life, morality, or reality, remember you're walking the same path these giants once walked. And that journey of the mind, it never really ends.